were then approached to see if we would be able to, welcome people here. And we didn't think it was gonna be, initially I think we thought maybe around 50 people, then we were increased to 125. I do have some numbers for you. So our first arrival was on October 5th. We have a total of 48 men, 14 women, and 58 kids. 120 total. We had another family that's kind of, there's two programs. We have the regular Afghan placement and assistant program, and then we also have an SIV program. We just had our first SIV arrive, which was a husband, wife, and 2 children. And I believe we're expecting 3 more individuals to arrive. We just don't know when.
What is SIV?
Special immigrant visa. That's for individuals that were like interpreters for the U.S. government back in Afghanistan. So they're, within all of these, within the 120 or within probably throughout the United States, there's a lot of individuals that may have been in that process or maybe at a certain level. And so we're also trying to determine, where they are, how can we help them with their immigration process, kind of right now they've entered the United States. They have they were paroled into the United States for a period of 2 years. We don't know what will happen after that 2 years. Maybe they'll be able to extend, or maybe there'll be some type of law that will be passed that will allow them to possibly, apply for permanent residency. They're different from refugees. Refugees enter the United States and can apply for their green cards after 1 year. Our Afghan population cannot, unless they're kind of in that SIV. If they've been in that process and have applications, they may be closer. If they have family member here, it may be possible that they might be able to do something through that channel as well. Yes.
No, are you okay if we
Sure.
ask questions
Absolutely.
as we go, or do you want us to wait?
Absolutely, that's fine.
So, and what is can you explain more, unless I missed it, the reason why our Afghan refugees cannot apply for citizenship as soon as
because they're paroled into the United States. So in order to become a citizen, a person has to have a green card. They have to be a permanent resident. So I've only seen one individual that came as a permanent resident, and then of course our SIVs that enter as SIVs, they will receive their permanent residence. But yeah, they have to.
So what does it mean to be paroled in?
It's kind of like that's how they were allowed to enter the United States. So you're either admitted, the way that you're admitted to the United States, like some people might enter with visas, in this case they were paroled into the United States. So
because of the situation?
Yes, because of the situation.
Okay.
So they're allowed to come into the United States. They have work authorization, so they can work. Initially when we first started receiving individuals, it was mainly single individuals, single males. Now we're at the families, where we have very large families, and some that we're, really struggling to find housing with. If anybody's seen on the news last week that we kind of did an update on how we're trying to find some larger homes for individuals. So it's really been, everything happened very fast. We kind of had to, our department was very small, and we're lucky that we also had other individuals that were able to help us within Catholic Charities, and then plus volunteers. We couldn't do this alone. Our volunteers have been great. Response from the community regarding donations and everything. It's been wonderful. So we have been able to, there's been a lot of challenges with documentation and receiving information from their work permits and social security cards from the government, and that still tends to be somewhat of a challenge, but we're happy to say that a lot of the people are working. I believe we have about maybe 22 individuals that are currently working right now. Others that are very interested in working, but just waiting on documentation to arrive. And that's kind of been the challenge. kids are starting to get enrolled in school. We had one mother that just gave birth in, I believe it was December, maybe the end of December, that had first baby here. A couple other moms that are expecting their children, their children here, first children, in the next coming month. And another thing that we have, and then plus we have all levels of, some speak English very well and others nothing at all, but it's been awesome to work with the Afghan population because they sometimes pick up words here and there, and they will try to talk to you and try to understand. We're fortunate that we hired a interpreter who is from Afghanistan and has been living in the United States, recently became a U.S. citizen. He's on staff with us part-time, so he has been helping us out. We couldn't do this without him, so we are very grateful to have him. People have expressed an interest in going to school or learning English. Also, working, that many of them have families back in Afghanistan. They may have only been able to enter the United States alone. They may have not been able to bring wives and children. Some were able to bring their families with, others have not. So there's, the concerns as far as, working, supporting their family, but then also, they are interested in learning English as well.
So are the folks that are here in Green Bay, what is their educational background?
It varies, there's some people, we have some people that have very, higher levels of education back in Afghanistan, and probably some that, do not have, have very low levels of education.
Would that be the males or the females?
Well, females probably don't have very much education at all. And I don't know how many, females would be willing to or interested in participating. That's something that, of course we have more males that are here. Some of our moms are home taking care of the kids, especially the ones that have little ones. But we will make this, we have let everybody know that, there are places where they can go to learn English if they are interested. So it varies. The same with English level, some of them can understand, and others, have a little bit more of a difficulty. Yes.
How do the males feel about having instruction from females?
I don't see it as a problem because, in my office, the majority of us are females. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been great to work with. So, yeah, people have been very grateful.
Is there any likelihood that the men who have families back in Afghanistan will be able to bring their families here?
It's possible. It's, it's like I said, this all kind of, everything happens so fast, and our work was, we all kind of had to shift gears, and my primary focus has always been just immigration. Whereas, then I probably have been 100% of my time has been dedicated to, working with the Afghan population. My goal is to return back to doing immigration very soon, so that can also include helping individuals with doing, determining where they are, like if they can apply for this SIV, or what process can they do, how could they potentially get family members here. And I know we're also gonna be hiring, Catholic Charities is hiring, I think, 3 different positions currently, so I will also get help with that. So yes, that's one of the other things they express interest in, bringing family here.
That's gotta be hard.
Yeah.
So the 100, you broke down the men, women, and kids, like 120, are those families and individuals planning on staying in Green Bay, or?
For the most part, yes.
At least
So,
for the long, short term?
Yep, so there were, I don't know how many came into the United States, 50, 60,000, so if you can imagine, divided by all these different bases. We've only had a few that came from Wisconsin. We didn't have that, a lot. We've had
Wonder
people
why.
from.
No, the cold,
Well,
it's the weather.
Well, it's just weird. We've had people from New Mexico, and I think from Texas and, Virginia, I wanna say, different bases. So it's just kind of like, you know, we're kind of, you know, there's, I believe, 9 different resettlement agencies within the United States, and so we're under USCCB, so, you know, USCCB, maybe they had 10,000, so they divide them between their, you know, like, affiliates, like with us, so, you know, we were updated, you know, like, okay, given, you know, divided, they would send us names and individuals, and we would accept them. I can say that initially, with the first couple that arrived, it was very hard because there was nobody here. And we were fortunate that we had, you know, we didn't realize that there were other Afghans living here in the Green Bay area. And, you know, luckily I was able to reach out to our interpreter, Saeed, and, you know, he talked to them, and once we started getting more people, they felt more comfortable, they were more happy. Sure. And then once more other females came, I think that has been a tremendous help. And then, you know, now there's kind of more, you know, some of the individuals are, you know, probably getting together on the weekends, or, you know, visiting or communicating. Some of them might work together. So it's been better, and we do talk to them. You know, of course, we can't force anybody to stay here in the Green Bay area. We're hopeful that they'll stay here. But I'd have to say that, you know, the majority of them are, you know, very happy, you know, here. They do realize that if they would move to Texas or somewhere like California or Virginia, that cost of living is much different. Jobs are available here in the Green Bay area. The pay is, you know, very good here in the Green Bay area. Schools are good. So they've, you know, I would say that, I think we may have had 2 individuals that have moved out with other family members, but we've actually had other individuals move here, and we expect that there will probably be other people that may have been resettled in another area that will come to Green Bay to join people that are already here.
I think, and correct me if I'm,
No.
Do you expect more people to come from Fort McLean? Cause I heard there are thousands there.
Yeah, there are, I don't know, you know, that would be, I think, if we were approached, to accept more, you know, then, you know, it's possible. We'd have to see, you know, like right now our challenge is housing for the larger families. Smaller, you know, groups, it's, you know, smaller family or single individuals, it's not as difficult, but, you know, with larger families, it is really challenging. And then plus with the Packer games, unfortunately, that's been difficult too, because this week we're moving individuals because where they're staying now, they have to leave because, you know, these places are going to be occupied by people that are coming to the games. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Laurie, there was an article in the Press Gazette, talking about Catholic Charities helping the resettlement. And I think there was a quote from a gentleman who was talking to some friends or whatever in Arizona or New Mexico, and they said, you should come here. The people here are really, you know what I mean? So it was kind of interesting to see that so readily they're feeling welcome and home, and even though it's cold, it's friendly here. You know, is that true? I think I saw that. Okay.
Even though it's true, even though it's cold, yes, they are. And I know that one of the guys one of our first arrivals, he was in one of the group, he said he has a relative in Texas, I think, that's gonna end up moving here. And there was somebody that just recently moved here from, I don't know if it was South Carolina or a different area.
What are the age ranges, I'm sorry, of the adults? What is the age range?
I think 19 to, it could be like in the 50s, so it's all varies.
So you said there were like 14 women right now and 58 children?
Yes.
Are some of those children without parents?
No.
So that's spread over those 14
Yes.
women? Wow.
Yeah, like I said, we have some families of 10, 9, I think we have one of, you know, well, including parents, 12, so yeah, some very large families.
So basically then Catholic Charities, you're responsible for making sure the paperwork is taken care of. Is that probably the most overwhelming right now?
Which paper, like what kind of paper?
Like when they come in, for them to get a job and to move forward, cause wouldn't that be like one of the biggest other than housing, you know, a place to put them?
Well, housing, really is, yes, we wanna make sure when they arrive that they have somewhere to go, because they'll arrive, sometimes, even with our normal refugee resettlement program, a lot of times they're arriving at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So we need to find them a place to stay. With the Afghan population, it's been pretty much temporarily, and then once we find permanent housing, then we will transition them to permanent housing. So, of course, yes, making sure that they have a place to stay, that they have food, to eat, that they're set up, with, children are enrolled in school as soon as possible, that they're signed up for any benefits, that they're getting a medical screening, that they, of course, if they have the documents, that they're, that they can start working. And I'd probably say that the individuals that have their documents are working, and there's individuals that are waiting for documentation yet, so.
With your housing issue, what are your requirements for, like, if there was a property available, would they contact you and say, hey, I've got this?
Yes, they could contact us. We do have, another person, there's another person on Catholic Charities that, actually there's two now, that kind of have been, figuring out, they go and measure the rooms and kind of figure out how many people could stay in, that home. And so, yeah, they have that all,
So
all
then
figured
how
out.
do they figure out how do they do the rent? I mean, they come here and they have no money probably, so how are you paying rent?
So, they will all receive $1,225. That's what they'll receive from the government.
One time or every month?
One time. Larger families, so if it is a larger family, the majority of that money can be used for rent. And it's supposed to be, the money is supposed to go towards, housing or, some type of housing needs. It's not just given to them and they're able to do whatever they want. The majority is set aside so we can make sure that they're in housing, and that, we've been fortunate to be able to pay probably sometimes 2 or 3 months of rent. So that way they're set in their homes, they can start working and then start planning and saving, so that, then they're prepared to pay for their rent. And I forgot what you asked, so yes, so they do receive that. They also are eligible for refugee cash assistance as a program. So they would get another payment at $653 per month, and that's only if, until they're working. If they work, then, they have their income from their employment.
Is that each adult?
It's an adult, but if it's a family, it's only per family, so.
That payment is per family?
Yes, per family. And if they have younger children, they would be eligible for for W-2. And they also would be eligible for medical assistance and food share as well.
And are all the children that are school age, are they going to a set number of schools, or are they all over the district?
I think it's probably a set number of school. I know that they have to do testing, and then the school district I believe that, my coworker said that there were 2 schools in the Green Bay district that they were going to at this time.
Do we have a major employer?
JBS has been a major employer. American Foods, and Belgioso Cheese, I think, have been kind of the main employers.
What was the last one?
Belgioso.
Okay.
So some of you might be interested to know the situation with providing literacy services for this population here at Literacy Green Bay. So right now, well, I'll back up and explain. We have both our ELL classes as well as the tutoring. And then we have some other programs for getting a GED and a basic adult literacy. But in regards to English literacy, it's primarily the classes and the tutoring. The tutoring, as you probably know, is designed for people with a little bit higher level of abilities. We, roughly speaking, expect them to be conversational, so that way they can at least schedule when and where they're gonna meet with their tutor and be able to, get through some of those basic communication issues. Our ELL classes, on the other hand, are designed for the lowest level speakers. So as Sandy indicated, we started with her and the other volunteer, Sue, we started what we call the pre-literacy class. And then we have intro level, level 1, and level 2. And we have a relationship with NWTC that they provide levels 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is intentional with the idea that people would move up through the classes, go to NWTC, get exposure to other career advancement opportunities. And throughout that, they could also have a tutor if they wanted. So unfortunately with our classes, well, it's good and bad, fortunate and unfortunate. There's so many people who are interested in learning English. There are many, many people coming back to us now after the pandemic, as well as just regular influx of people into the community who hear about us for the first time. So right now our classes are full. So we do not have room to admit new students into the classes at all. We're not anticipating being able to do that until summer. So unfortunately for the lowest level speaking individuals, we don't have a lot of services for them right here. NWTC fortunately helped to fill in a gap, and they are offering some level 1 and 2 classes. So they can help with that for the time being until we can start to admit more people. But for those who do have conversational level of English, that's where all of you and your cohorts in the tutoring program can help out. We will be accepting those Afghan individuals who would like a tutor. We will be testing them to find out their levels and the appropriate curriculum for them, and then start to match them with tutors. And as was briefly mentioned, we are looking at doing a class for the Afghan community provided by a volunteer, if Sandy offered to do that, if we can make it all work out with the scheduling and everything.
So, but the people that are gonna be coming for tutoring and all that are predominantly the men though, or males, am I correct?
I would probably say initially.
So is there a program to deal with the women and children? I realize that they've got childcare issues, so I'm not, whereas tutoring or English language teaching would be part of it, but it would also be part of just teaching them how to use the community.
Mhm.
You know, is that already set up? Is that something that needs to get set up?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. We like I can think of, there is one female that I think would probably be interested in classes or tutoring. I'm not sure, where her level is. Again, with the ones that have larger families, that might be, a little bit of more of a challenge to get them here, or to, kind of figure out when it would be like when it would work out in their schedule. I mean, yes, we can offer that to, we would offer that to everyone as we meet with them, make sure that it's available. But I guess,
There isn't really something organized per se. I mean, it's sort of like if you got a room at the Y every Tuesday night, or at the ADRC or something like that, and you brought in different resources that the women might need, a nurse or whatever. And I realize that there's still the language barrier, but that would be something that a tutor could do. I don't know, I'm thinking about the FAST program from way back when. I don't think FAST is around anymore, which was, where
Yep.
you're helping both the families and the children,
Yes.
and just see something like that.
yes, I mean, I know that we did something like that for refugee families in the schools. So I agree, I think that would be beneficial. It'd be something that we would have to work out and, figure out transportation and interpretation too as well. But I don't think anybody would be opposed to it at all,
Do they
I think
both
it's a good
drive?
idea. Well, see, that's the other thing, they don't, they're learning to drive, they're getting driver's license slowly, as, they pass their written test, and then going to get their driver's license. We have a couple maybe that have purchased vehicles, but we suspect that, anticipate that as more people get driver's license and then able to save for a vehicle, then, they will be able to get around easier.
So
So when you say that, does that mean that some of them are coming with resources, or are they coming with nothing?
You mean as far as vehicles?
Like to purchase a vehicle, like, are they,
I would say they're probably ones that have been working and
they've
saving.
been working,
Yeah.
they're basically coming with nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
So, as an individual here in the community, what is something like culturally, probably that, would be most helpful for them or understanding them, like culturally, probably what is the most challenging thing they've had in the United States or in this environment?
I guess there's probably a lot of things, as far as understanding that, just of how, things work here, like going to a doctor, that you need to make an appointment, that you just can't go, or to any, office for services, you just can't go there and expect to be seen, whereas, some people have commented that if they need to go to the dentist, they just go, and they're taken care of, that things aren't like that, things are, different here, and, regarding, what's involved when they rent a home, and, what their, responsibilities are, and even some, as far as showing them what to, how to use a microwave, or how to use a wash machine. It varies, and depending on, what their, living situation was in Afghanistan, or, plus their age, some are very familiar with, with everything here, understand. So it's, and, just, gosh, I'm sure it's probably different that they see, like especially in our office, the majority of us are females, and that, they're, but I haven't had any bad experiences with it, everybody's been great that we've been working with, so, when you go to their home, they're very kind, they want you to, they wanna offer you something to drink or some tea, very, very kind, our volunteers, I've witnessed that, when the volunteers are there, even some of the kids, the younger kids are making sure that they have something to drink, and that's just kind of in their, culture, to do.
And as often happens, with tutoring, you organically, realize needs as you're tutoring, so they will ask, I need to go to the dentist, can you help me? You know what I mean? So that's part of that whole process, is just learning as you go, and what instances you have in your life going on that, the tutor pairs have experienced before, in any population. You're not just for the Afghans, it's, day-to-day skills or cultural questions that you have as you're tutoring.
And sometimes they, I could see that, they could tell you, but they could, and they may be telling you, but they may have already told me this, they may have already told my coworker, they may have already told the interpreter. So sometimes they will tell multiple people the same thing,
Right,
and
right.
it's just,
Right.
Are they mostly Muslim?
yes.
Do they have any commonality with that Somali mosque, or it's just two different?
I don't really know, if it's, been different, or if it's, again, transportation, most of them don't have transportation.
They
I know
can't
that.
talk to each other, there's no, the Somali and the Afghan language.
Well, I don't think that's, no, they
They're-
don't, they're different,
Yeah.
yes, they're different. I know a lot of them that are working like at JVS or American Foods, they're working together. But, they, from what I see, most of them, they just have like they will do prayer in their home, they have maybe a dedicated area or in times.
Good. Is there anything we haven't asked, or you need to share, Laurie? So, as Robin was updating us, so what Laurie's saying, housing and employment and getting them settled in the area is their number one priority. So now we're seeing our friends coming to Literacy Green Bay, and we tested 3 last night. And we already know there's another handful of people coming in to test, so we'll start knowing more and more about their level of literacy as they come in and test, whether it's gonna be with the classrooms and, or one-on-one tutoring, and obviously we'll let our tutors know, that are waiting on the wait list, where we're at with that as the testing progresses.
How long is the wait list?
It's not a long wait list right now, 30 days max, maybe. COVID impacted both tutors and learners, because the best way to learn a language is face to face, you know what I mean, is face to face.
That's gonna be my question. If we do get a class, and it's here, they're coming here. I'm not Zooming this, right?
We do have both options
You
running
do.
right now, either online only or in person only.
Okay, okay.
And I think they're all full, is online full?
There
But-
might be some spaces here and there.
But I think the online is more of the higher level.
It would have to be.
Not
Oh, no?
necessarily.
No, okay,
Well,
all
you
right.
probably don't have
I
it.
don't have online in my
Okay.
class,
Okay.
but I think other intro classes do have some online.
Yeah, that's right, I think Arlene has some, yeah, so it varies, yeah. And maybe, for those who may not be aware, do you wanna tell them about the upcoming tutor training, so that if they know somebody who might wanna join?
Yes. The next one starts February 14th. And I don't know if everyone's familiar now, we've morphed into a kind of a blended, training workshop because of COVID. So the participants watch a set of videos online once they get their binder, and then they meet in person Monday, Wednesday, back to back Monday, Wednesday, either in the morning session or the evening. And I do have, and the next one's in April, and then I think June and October. So the schedule is getting posted hopefully this week, but yes, I'm pretty sure there's still room in either of the sessions in February, so it's not too late to share that out if that's someone you know.
How many
that
tutors do you have?
Total
Yeah.
active?
Mhm.
About 100.
Nice.
Pairs, active pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So it's a unique situation here because our classes are full, but we have space for the tutoring program, but they do need to be higher level. So we're really eager for more people to become tutors, because we know that many of the Afghans will be coming to us seeking a tutor. So please share the word,
And what happens too is our students who are in the ELL classes get their skills developed and they move up to a level where they need a tutor. So with classes being full, there's also gonna be hopefully an influx of people continuing on. There's, okay, I've done classes 1 and 2, I'm ready for a tutor. So it's gonna start building up again. So this is the perfect time if you need a tutor to get a tutor, because the wait list is in a weird and unique position.
Do the tutors meet here with their students?
You can meet here, some meet in churches, some in the libraries. We just ask that it's not in your homes, for obvious reasons, but yeah, you can meet wherever it is convenient with you and your learner.